2 weeks ago, while on the train, the staff reminded passengers to board the platform calmly and wait behind the line. The protagonist received a text from a classmate asking where he was, to which he replied he was on the subway. He also got a notification about his low bank balance, prompting him to think about budgeting for the month. During the ride, someone loudly criticized others for not understanding the importance of scoring well, emphasizing that a minimum score of 30 was necessary. The protagonist reflected on the high expectations but felt he had worked hard in school, even though he was uncertain about receiving a scholarship. He decided to prioritize work over studying, as the pay was good and would help him save for tuition, despite it affecting his grades. Although his previous semesters hadn't shown improvement, he aimed to enhance his performance after returning from the army. He believed that if he performed well in that day's lecture, he could achieve a score of 3 points, and was determined to succeed in the group presentation. At that moment, the protagonist observed that the train car was quite packed, likely due to a nearby concert or event. A handsome boy bumped into him, making the protagonist feel uncomfortable with the close proximity amidst the crowd. He noted that the boy seemed unaware of the situation. Just then, an announcement reminded passengers to be cautious when exiting and to avoid pushing inside the train. The protagonist felt uncertain about how to react, as there was no room to move back, and he believed trying to block the boy with his hand would only make things worse. He noticed that the boy had just woken up and felt frustrated by the timing of the situation. Suddenly, the boy leaned in and whispered that he understood the protagonist's discomfort but couldn't do anything about the crowded train, asking him to be patient. At that moment, another passenger bumped into them, complaining that his cane had fallen to the floor. The protagonist felt uncomfortable about the situation with the boy on the train and decided he needed to address it. He told the boy that his height might have prevented him from noticing how crowded the train was, and explained that an elderly man had pushed him to retrieve his cane, hoping to clear up any misunderstandings. Days later, while arriving at class, the protagonist encountered the boy again, who accused him of being a freeloader and making inappropriate comments. Annoyed, the protagonist thought the boy was being unreasonable. The boy reported him to a police officer, claiming the protagonist had been too close to him. The protagonist intervened, insisting it was a misunderstanding, and requested the officer check the CCTV footage to clarify that he had been pushed from behind. The officer took the boy, Lee Sung, aside to repeat his statement. The protagonist was determined not to let the incident derail his plans for a final presentation. The officer later confirmed that the investigation had concluded, stating that testimony supported the protagonist's account and that there were no issues with the CCTV footage. He asked Lee Sung for his contact information. As Lee Sung received a message from a classmate about failing due to a senior's absence, he asked the officer if everything was resolved. Noticing Lee Sung was upset, the officer inquired about his distress. After leaving, Lee Sung decided to disguise himself at school to avoid drawing attention, reflecting on how difficult it was to explain the situation of being falsely accused of inappropriate behavior on the train. He was determined to succeed, especially since they had invested so much in their education and needed to achieve a good grade. At that moment, Lee Sung was approached by a boy named Dongmin, who introduced himself and expressed a desire to lead their team. Lee Sung, noticing a sheet of paper, agreed that Dongmin would be a good partner and suggested they find the other team members, particularly Seo Chaijun. Dongmin acknowledged that Seo Chaijun was a senior but believed it would be better for them to proceed without him. Lee Sung hesitated, recalling the teacher's warning about the consequences of missing members, but Dongmin reminded him that the teacher had also been absent last semester. Lee Sung decided to inform the teacher first. Just then, the teacher reminded the class that it was a group project and that they still had time to include Seo Chaijun, warning that they wouldn't be allowed to present without him. Frustrated, Lee Sung thought this was unreasonable. He then asked Dongmin for Seo Chaijun's phone number, and Dongmin began dialing. Meanwhile, Seo Chaijun was working but felt dizzy from exhaustion. A classmate urged him to push through and not show weakness, while Seo Chaijun sarcastically suggested that his classmate should take the lead instead. Another classmate noted that Seo Chaijun seemed upset, referencing an incident on the train that had affected him. Seo Chaijun admitted he couldn't concentrate, and his classmate warned him about the dangers of working while fatigued. Lost in thought, Seo Chaijun recalled his encounter with Lee Sung, which had left him feeling disoriented. His classmate noticed him hitting his head against a piece of wood and commented on his erratic behavior. Just then, Seo Chaejin's phone rang, but he ignored it. Meanwhile, Dongmin grew frustrated trying to reach Seo Chaejun, suspecting something was wrong. Lee Sung, sensing a strange premonition, reassured himself to stay calm and consider the possibility of completing the project without Seo Chaejun, planning to inform him later. The teacher reminded the students that they would have an oral exam and emphasized the importance of teamwork, ensuring everyone understood the instructions. Trying to remain calm, Lee Sung suggested they give it a shot and reassured the group that things wouldn't get worse. He then asked Dongmin for Seo Chaejin's contact information. The following day, Lee Sung sent a message to Seo Chaejun, introducing himself as Sungyin Lee and mentioning that they were in the same summer semester. He expressed his frustration at not being able to reach Chaejun and wondered if he had been blocked, noting that it had been 3 days without any communication. He questioned the purpose of having a phone if this was the case and ended his message with a hint of challenge, suggesting that he would confront Chaejun when they finally met. The next day, Lee Sung reflected on his previous comments, realizing he hadn't fully considered their implications. After 4 days without contact from Seo Chaejun, he pondered the difference between thinking about something and actually doing it, likening life to an art form. When he encountered Seo Chaejun again, he was surprised to find himself in a position to confront him. Lee Sung approached Seo Chaejun, reminding him that he had initially stated their interaction was a mistake and that he didn't know they were from the same school. He suggested they clear the air, but Seo Chaejun, confused, questioned Lee Sung's intentions. Lee Sung insisted that he wasn't there for any particular reason and asked Seo Chaejun to let go of the tension, as the situation was becoming uncomfortable. At that moment, a third-year student intervened, advising Seo Chaejun to take a break and apologizing to Lee Sung for the disruption. He explained that despite Seo Chaejun's intimidating demeanor, he was a good person and urged them not to escalate the situation. The student mentioned that he had to complete his tasks early due to the upcoming relocation of the mechanical room, warning that any issues could lead to significant trouble for the entire department. Surprised, Lee Sung asked if the mechanical room's closure would affect Seo Chaejun, to which the student confirmed it would, noting that Seo Chaejun was concerned about a major project he was involved in. Feeling empathetic, Lee Sung offered to help Seo Chaejun, albeit with some conditions. The curious student asked Lee Sung about his conditions for helping Seo Chaejun. Lee Sung, determined, stated that he needed the student to bring Seo Chaejun to him, and the student agreed. Turning to Seo Chaejun, Lee Sung inquired if there was a topic he wanted to discuss, expressing his willingness to accommodate any of Chaejun's preferences. Confused, Seo Chaejun questioned why Lee Sung was still following him, prompting Lee Sung to remind him that their conversation was not finished and that they needed to work together. Annoyed, Seo Chaejun referred to Lee Sung as someone who wanted to associate with an abuser who had previously harassed him. Lee Sung urged him to forget that incident and expressed concern for Seo Chaejun's well-being, warning him about the consequences of falling behind in his studies, especially since he couldn't afford to waste money. At that moment, someone mentioned Seo Chaejun's dog, which caught Lee Sung's attention. He realized it was a colleague from work and felt uneasy about the encounter. Seo Chaejun, frustrated, insisted that Lee Sung was not paying attention to him. Lee Sung then asked for silence, indicating that someone was nearby, and both of them quickly hid in a storage room, reflecting on how he had unintentionally found himself in a tight situation. Lee Sung called Seo Chaejun an idiot and urged him not to start with his nonsense again, questioning whether he wanted to be in this situation. Seo Chaejun replied that it wasn't his fault either. Lee Sung insisted he just wanted to get out to finish things, but Seo Chaejun asked if they were stuck there for good. An hour later, as night fell, Lee Sung realized they were alone, and Seo Chaejun asked what time it was. Worried about being late for his part-time job, Lee Sung felt the situation was becoming increasingly strange and wanted to escape before anything else happened. Seo Chaejun wondered if the door was made of iron, while Lee Sung, feeling anxious, questioned how much longer they could stay there, struggling to breathe. Frustrated, Seo Chaejun asked if they really needed to discuss this at that moment. Lee Sung reflected that it must be uncomfortable for Seo Chaejun as well and thought he should help him, remembering they were both men. He then took hold of Seo Chaejun's pants, suggesting they finish quickly since the space was tight and breathing was difficult. He warned that if Seo Chaijun passed out, they would be in serious trouble. Outside the storage room, a voice commented on a potentially broken door and wondered if the manager had the key. Hearing this, Lee Sung panicked, fearing that if someone entered, the situation would become complicated. He worried about how to explain everything, imagining that if someone saw them together, especially with Seo Chaijun asleep, it would look like they were dating. When the storage room door opened, Lee Sung quickly ran out, hiding his face to avoid recognition. He mentally bid farewell to Seo Chaijun, thinking they would never see each other again. Once in a secluded area, he reflected on the upcoming conference and his need to gather money for it. He considered whether he should set aside his pride and felt guilty for being angry about being treated like a fool. He remembered Seo Chaijun's struggles with insomnia and wondered how he could help him improve. The next day in class, Lee Sung noticed Seo Chaijun was absent and felt frustrated, thinking nothing was going his way. He decided to visit Seo Chaijun's house. When he knocked, Seo Chaijun appeared and questioned whether Lee Sung was using the group assignment as an excuse to see him. Surprised, Lee Sung insisted he was serious and that they needed to resolve their issues. Seo Chaijun, holding the door, asked if Lee Sung would let go. Lee Sung urged him to stop being sensitive and demanded his cooperation, emphasizing the need for results. Frustrated, Seo Chaijun told Lee Sung he couldn't hear him and warned him not to make him angry. Lee Sung insisted he needed Seo Chaijun's help immediately and, without thinking, pushed him to open the door. The push caused Seo Chaijun to fall on top of Lee Sung, who was stunned and questioned whether Lee Sung really thought this was all about the assignment.